Welcome to Bourbon School. I'm Brian. Today I'm going to give you my 2024 year-end list inspired by our friend Ben over at the Bourbon Note. Coming right up. All right, guys. It's January. It's the end of the year. We're in the new year and everybody's doing their year-end 2024 best bourbons of the year. But our friend Ben over at the Bourbon Note, and if you're not subscribed to the Bourbon Note, go do that now. I'm going to leave the link right here. I also link to Ben's video. He did a list and he came up with different categories. So instead of just doing a list of here's my top 10 bourbons or my top 5 bourbons of the year, he had a fun list that he came up with 6 different categories. So he then went ahead and challenged all of the folks in the Whiskey 6 to go ahead and do their own. So I'm going to be, I believe, the first one of the Whiskey 6 to do this list, besides Ben, obviously. So I am going to reiterate to Myron and Bobby and Sean, we would love to see your list as well. So if you are so inclined, go ahead and make your 2024 list using these categories that Ben came up with. So he had some really creative categories. I thought they were interesting because it wasn't just about like, here's the bourbons I like this year. It kind of mixed it up a little bit. So this is the kind of list where you might get some different kind of answers from people depending on what they were personally hunting for, or what they personally enjoyed, or what they personally were surprised by or disappointed by. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first category that Ben came up with was the bottle that you hunted and actually found. So for me, it was Smoke Eye Hill. And I will fully own, I was 100% bought into the hype on Smoke Eye Hill. I know Fred Minnick ended up choosing it as his favorite bourbon last year, and people started calling it the Stag Killer. Spoiler alert, it is not a Stag Killer. I've got a George T. Stag up here, and I will promise you it does not rival George T. Stag. However, it is absolutely delicious. We're going to have a review of this coming up soon. But this is probably one of the big ones I was really hunting this year, and I really thought I wasn't going to be able to get it just because of it goes so quick. You find it online and it goes so quick. And like I said, it's not available here in Western New York. So I was real happy to grab that. And that's the bottle I hunted that I actually ended up getting. Okay, and it's next on the list is the bottle you hunted, but you didn't find. And for me, I don't think these are crazy allocated bottles or necessarily bottles that, you know, where they're available, they're hard to get a hold of, but here in New York, we don't have them. And that is basically the whole line of Hard Truth. I'll put some bottles right here because obviously I don't have any. But I have heard nothing but great things about Hard Truth bourbon. And unfortunately, I haven't seen much here in Western New York. I don't know if it's an availability thing, like if it's not available in New York State, or it just hasn't reached us here in Western New York. But I know, especially because they have so many great finished bottles from my understanding. Obviously, I haven't had any, but just watching people's reviews and what people say about it, it sounds like they have some great finished bottles, especially some double oaked bourbons and ryes that I would love to get my hands on. So Hard Truth is the bottle that I haven't hunted, or I hunted and didn't get a hold of. And it's also going to end up on my list of bottles that I want to get in 2025. And that'll be coming up in a couple weeks. But Hard Truth, I'm hoping that it shows up in our area soon because I was hunting hard and didn't grab one. And as if by magic, I have some bourbon poured here. So let's move on to our next category. The next category on the list was the best bourbon of the year. So there's another category later or next that's a little similar, but this one is just kind of flat out your best bourbon of the year, what you thought was the best bottle you bought. And for me, it's the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C924. I thought this was exceptional. I think this is the best barrel proof I have had of the 6 batches I've had. I've had a couple of older samples, 22s, 20s, and they were really good. But of the 6 that I have bought since getting into this bourbon thing, this is the best one. I thought it was so delicious. And I was really, really starting to get turned off because I thought the A was not great at all. And I thought the B was just okay. And I was starting to say, like, maybe I'm not going to grab every single release until I'm able to try them first. But of course, because I'm a completionist and I needed to have the C batch, I did go out and buy the C batch when it came out. And boy, is this a great bottle. I really loved it. I think this is, other people have said things like Russell's 15 and the Smoke Eye Hill and the Murray Club special release. And those, I've had all of them and they're fine bourbons. But for us, because we wouldn't buy a Russell's 15 because of the price, and even though I've had it, I don't know that it's better than this. I thought this was a great bottle, and that's my bourbon of the year for 2024. All right, next. The whiskey that you really grew to love in 2024. And I believe Ben did a specific one bottle. But for me, I'm going to do a brand, a distiller, because I think they have really upped their game since being bought by MGP, and that's Penelope. And I'll give you two great examples, the Penelope Estate and the Penelope Marshmallow Toast. I am telling you, if you've watched this channel that we love Penelope anyway. We have always loved Penelope. But boy, oh boy, has Penelope really stepped up their game this year. And I feel like this is the bottle that I went to most this year off the shelf. I think it's the bottle that has had the most consistently good releases. These two were great. The Valencia was very good. I've gotten a toasted barrel strength bourbon, the toasted rye, the Tokaji cask rye. I've had a ton this year, and every single one has been great. I don't think there's been a Penelope bottle that I've been disappointed in. And so for me, I have really come to love Penelope because I think it's just great stuff. And if I am in a store and don't know what to get, and I'm kind of stuck, I would say 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go to the Penelope section, see what they have, because I know that every time it's going to be a great bottle. So Penelope is my choice for the bottles, or the distiller, I guess, the company that I've really come to love in 2024. All right, next, biggest letdown. So I had the opportunity to get this bottle at a very good price. I did not pay a crazy secondary price, and at this point, I'm really glad I did. The Weller CYPB is my biggest letdown this year. It is unbelievable to me that people charge $300 and $400 for this bottle. I paid $75, which is more than retail, and I don't think I would do it again. Now, I initially had this at Brian Fisher's house from Buffalo Bourbon Enthusiasts. Go subscribe. And I thought it was very good. I was surprised at how mellow and very easy drinking it was. And that was one pour. So actually that next weekend I had a bourbon raffle and I was able to grab this for, like I said, $75. And what I quickly realized as I drank more of it is that very mellow, approachable, easy drinking aspect of it is just been translated to boring for me. I don't find this to be remarkable in any way. I think the 107, I have it up there somewhere, right there. I think the 107 is still the best Weller there is. It was, and because of the secondary prices of this, I was expecting something a lot more. And in the end, it's just a 95 proof wheated bourbon that's just okay. I wouldn't say it's a bad bourbon by any stretch of the imagination, but the hype and the price that people pay and the expectation I had for it were just not met. So I would say that's my biggest disappointment of 2024, Weller CYPB. And finally, the last category on Ben's list was the biggest surprise that you had this year. And for us, or for me, and actually Marianne and Lauren actually has just gotten a bottle of this, so I don't know how she feels about it yet. But the biggest surprise for me, and I know Marianne enjoyed it too, is the Old Soul single barrels. I was first introduced to Old Soul. Now, I knew about Old Soul, and I knew I wanted to try an Old Soul. So when we were on vacation in Massachusetts, I was able to grab a single barrel at Cappy's Liquors. And I was like, whew, my mind was blown. It was sweet and delicious and just it was a great bottle. We went through it very, very quickly. And then we had the opportunity when Cathead Distillery reached out to us to do our own pick. And I'll tell you what, it's not because we picked it and it has our name on it. This bottle is incredible. So now for me, Old Soul in 2024 is 2 for 2. I've had 2 different single barrels and they've both been exceptional. And so for me, those were the biggest surprises because I had seen people saying, you know, Old Soul is good stuff and you should try it and yada, yada, yada. But boy, oh boy, I had no idea how good it was. This is an incredible distillery that I'm looking forward to grabbing more bottles of in the coming year, is maybe even doing another pick with, because it is great stuff. And if you have an Old Soul pick around you, make sure you go grab one because they're great. You can see this one went quick too. I got to actually go up to Sheridan and get a new one. All right, guys, so there you have it. There's my year-end 2024 list of bourbons. Thanks to Ben for coming up with some great categories to fill in. And I want to put out the word to our fellow Whiskey 6 members. That's Sean from Whiskey Wars and Mash and Metal. That's Bobby from Bad Axe Bourbon and Myron from Bourbon Drop. We want to see your videos. You've now been challenged twice, so we fully expect to see your videos very, very soon. And if you haven't subscribed to all those channels, guys, make sure you go do that. And also go subscribe to the Whiskey 6. We're going to be back in February with new episodes and some new things and maybe a couple of really good announcements. So stay tuned for that. And let us know in the comments, what bourbons would you put into each one of these categories? Maybe you agree with some of mine, maybe you don't. But let us know in the comments what bourbons were your favorites, most disappointing, most surprising, or what have you in 2024. And if you like this video, guys, please like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another episode of Bourbon School. Cheers and Happy New Year, guys.